persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades, while the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux. To this day, the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes way before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can hit the streetlights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice. We never leave them alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never care for compromise. Always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
All right, welcome to episode 15 of This Week in Pro Wrestling, along with your favorite host, Mike Monty and Jimmy Farrow.
Yep.
Want to thank you all for joining us on this Friday, as always, right before SmackDown. But at the taping of this, Jimmy, we had our whole script set, but breaking news, the WWE, after having a great third quarter, which we'll get into,
All right.
has released, and I'd like you to check in on this, Jimmy.
Oh, boy.
They released Eva Marie, Harry Smith, Mia Yim, Keith Lee, Nia Jax, Karrion Kross, Scarlett, B-Fab, Ember Moon, Frankie Monet,
Wow.
and a list of others.
Wow.
But
That's a big list.
That's a big thoughts on what's going
Wow.
on here.
Holy trash dump. Wow.
I don't, at first we saw Scarlett was released. I'm like, how could they release Scarlett without Karrion Kross? Like, doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Well, when you told me Scarlett before telling me Karrion Kross, I really wasn't that surprised. When was the last time you saw her next to him anyway?
I thought they had a plan for her.
What's the plan?
Well,
Sit in the background and disappear while
No,
we wonder
well,
what happened to you?
But that intro was so over. She was over.
It was great, but something seemed to just happen when Cross came up to the big program. And how many times have we seen that happen with NXT guys anyway? You're great in NXT, and then you get to the main program and... Ooh, need a dustpan for that. Ooh, you see that mess down
You
there?
don't seem that, like,
I'm not shocked
I'm
anymore.
very upset over this.
I think you're upset about Karrion Kross. Why don't you explain why you're so upset about it?
I love the guy's look. I really
okay.
thought he was meant for the main roster.
Should have
I thought
been.
Scarlett by his side could have been the next Elizabeth Randy Savage.
Oh,
And again,
I don't know about that, but I understand that
you
there's a
said-
great combo.
You did say to me,
it was
like,
a great
hey, Mike,
combo.
the guy can't wrestle.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate
Well,
on that?
you know, when it really comes down to it, I think there were two things probably that heavily factored in. Now, I can't remember crystal clear, so forgive me, folks, but I do remember, I think there was an incident with Karrion Kross when he first came up to the main roster where during a match, he kind of forgot the script and got mad at someone and said things to how he was going to take care of him in the back. And I think you could hear that. That doesn't go over very well with the professionals in the back who are writing these scripts and training these guys on how to be on live television. So I don't think that helped him one little bit. He crashed and burned after that. From what I remember, he was never pushed on the main roster, and she disappeared. So you combine the fact that he may not have been fit for the backstage politics, and then you add on the fact that he's kind of Goldberg. as far as his wrestling ability. This is not Chad Gable. I'm using Chad Gable. What a great wrestler he is. Little guy, but man, can he wrestle. Karrion Kross is not a very good wrestler. So when you combine the fact that he kind of lost his professionalism on live TV with the fact that he ain't much of a wrestler to begin with, maybe Vince was like, see ya. I'm really not that surprised by it, especially, look, we've recently seen Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, and CM Punk, names like that. 2 years ago, it started with Jericho leaving, and we were like, why? You know, this doesn't shock me anymore. It just doesn't. I'm not surprised. Am I happy about certain wrestlers being let go? I agree with you. I think Karrion Kross and you know, by his side, you know, his valet and everything, was perfect.
But do you
Keith Lee is great.
Do you think this is the Nick Khan effect, though? So, just
Explain the
so
Nick
the
Khan effect.
WWE just announced, right, increases across the board in the third quarter 2021 earnings report. It was publicized their earnings of the third quarter 2021, saying they posted $255 million in revenue.
That's insane. It's great.
So and that's a 15% jump of $34
Nice.
million.
Nice.
So Nick Khan, right,
Mm-hmm.
has the mentality of less roster, used more, right? Because how many people were sitting in the back room and never being used?
I actually agree with this.
So you think now Nick Khan is making all this money? You think Vince is like, whatever you decide, Nick, if, you know, whatever's next, and he meets with the agents and say, look, this guy's just not getting over enough. We really have no space for them. Goodbye.
When you think about it, and I agree with that, by the way, everything you said, that philosophy, I agree with. And I'll tell you why. Think about all the names you just read off. Do you know how much these guys are getting paid? They're being paid good money.
Right.
All of them.
Right.
All of them are being paid good money. More than the average schlep is ever going to dream of working 9 to 5. So let's cut it out and
Right.
be real about this, okay? Look at the list of those names. There's like, what, maybe 15 to 20 on that list? Do you realize all that money just not being spent wisely by keeping them? There's no reason if you're not going to use it,
But
lose
there's
it.
a disconnect then,
Don't
right?
use it,
because they
lose
just
it.
gave Scarlett and Karrion Kross dolls and figures.
Right.
It's like it's got to be a disconnect between marketing and a business, unless it's like you said, there's trouble between those two.
Right.
And you know, I was
How
thinking,
about this? It's a business. It's probably as simple as one department didn't talk to the other one.
which happens all the time.
Come on now. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And that's how it played out. Oh, but we just released the
But-
dolls.
but-
oh, well.
Right. Well, do
you
you think?
know?
Do you think?
Sorry.
Do you think this?
Yeah.
He was in TNA, right? He had that whole problem in TNA.
Sure.
He's Killer
Sure.
Cross,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Killer Cross.
And he wasn't getting over there either, right? He was like,
Not the way he was getting over in NXT. He was over, though. He was over. Yeah, he was over in TNA.
this guy's 37 years old, man.
You
Not
know,
much, not
That
much
needs-
playing.
Yeah,
field
there's like a
left.
5-year window where you could have maxed him.
Yeah.
But after that, you better.
Well, no,
know.
but for him personally,
Right.
he's almost out of time, in my opinion.
That's what I mean. There's a 5-year window. I give him to like 42 to be pushed.
There's people
on
probably out
the
there
level
going, "What are
he
you
was
talking
being-
about? Daniel Bryan, CM Punk? Those are not.
Well,
those
they're-
are the
They're
anomalies,
exceptions
right?
to the rule,
Yeah,
and they're
thank you.
already legends. Karrion
Yes.
Kross is not a legend.
Right.
Let's get real here. You know what I mean?
I just wow.
boy.
I really
Not
thought.
surprised.
I was thinking this guy was going to be in WrestleMania, dude. I really was.
When he was in NXT,
could you imagine 100,000 people in Texas, them coming out to that?
when he, Fall and Pray,
Oh
that
my
stuff
God.
was great. But when he was in NXT, it looked like he could wind up there someday. But oh well. And again, I've said it before. Plenty of guys have looked amazing in NXT, come up to the main roster, and boop,
Nia Jax. That doesn't surprise you.
the queen of recklessness. You know I've been on this train for a
Abs-
long time.
you have been.
You hurt everybody you face. You're dangerous. You're dangerous. And I said, what did I say to you off the air when you told me she was on that list? I said, well, somebody's finally getting her receipt for punching someone in the face.
So can I ask you this then?
And we all know who that
Well,
someone was.
I know you're thinking
You know?
about Becky.
Yeah.
I was thinking about her recent altercation with Charlotte. Again, if you read the dirt sheet,
Right.
some say it was real, some say it was a work, whatever.
Right.
Do you think there's a point like, hey, look,
Enough.
Charlotte is the queen?
Yeah.
I really think that Charlotte is the queen.
Yeah.
And Charlotte, what are you so unhappy about? Well, you know, you need to get rid of this one, and you need to get rid of
Would
that
it be
one.
the first or the last time that someone pulled rank? And I don't blame Charlotte one bit if she was being a pain in her ass in the back.
You are not shaken by these releases
I'm not shaken
at
by
all.
any of this, and I don't feel bad for any of them. They'll either get back on their feet, or they'll scream at their Facebook followers to give them money, or they'll unfriend them.
Wow.
whatever. It is
All right.
what it is. You know.
We're going to jump the script a little bit. So last night on AEW in the World Title Eliminated Tournament semifinal, we all know about Moxley, and we'll discuss that on our main show.
Sure.
Orange Cassidy, Miro replaced Moxley as Orange
Right.
Cassidy wrestled Miro, the very popular Orange Cassidy.
Sure,
and
try
the
to get a
winner was
shot
the
at that
defeat-
title.
At Daniel Bryan, or
Who's
Bryan
awaiting the
Danielson, or
winner,
however
right.
you want to say it.
Right.
Thoughts on Miro defeating Orange Cassidy?
Good. Good. Beat the living tar out of him, crush his ass, and win. That works for me. I thought that's fine.
Wow.
You know, I don't want Orange Cassidy. I don't want Orange Cassidy anywhere near the world title. Sorry, that's me. That's how I feel about that. Miro, by the way, is starting to grow on me a little bit. I'll always be a Rusev fan first, probably.
Right.
Just because of the tank and the programs with Cena,
Well, it
which
only
I
makes
thought were
sense,
great.
right? Miro's the heel, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're not going to put Orange Cassidy against Bryan Danielson.
No, definitely not. But it also makes sense anyway, right? The way we look at wrestling, Miro should destroy this guy.
Oh, my God.
Goodbye.
And you know what? They did play that. Like, Miro
Thank
did
you.
destroy him. So I was
Thank you.
kind of happy
Well
with that.
done.
But how does that affect Orange Cassidy's career now?
Doesn't. He's got nothing to lose.
You know,
anyway.
AEW, they just have matches. There's no storyline, so whatever happens, happens, right? I mean, you talk about the ultimate 50-50 booking. Mm-hmm. Cody Rhodes loses to Andrade last night.
Right.
Andrade couldn't win a match for a year.
Right.
Now he beats Cody
Hey,
Rhodes.
no, he didn't. FTR helped him.
Well, he still beat him.
That's not winning. That's cheating.
It's cheating. Okay.
You know, I'm pulling the old.
Now,
you
do
know,
you
how
think-
could you
now, do you
cheat
think
like
that's
that, you
AEW, like,
rascal?
Wait a minute. We might have a chance at Charlotte. Let's kiss Andrade's ass a little bit.
Very interesting. Yeah, I could see that. Sure. I bet you they got Andrade free ice cream this weekend. What do you think? Nope.
Maybe, my friend.
I can see
So off the WWE's great third quarter earnings, their Raw rating was 1.689 million,
Okay.
which is up from last week's 1.658, given a .47 rating.
Okay.
Shockingly enough, Dynamite netted its worst viewership in a long time
Really?
with 878,000.
What? They didn't crack a mill?
That show isn't cracking a mill, bro.
Holy
The
CM.
CM Punk experiment is over.
CM junk.
And when you build yourself around shock value, so now you could bring Bray Wyatt in,
Right.
shock the shit out of
Right.
people, a whole bunch of people tune in for 3 weeks.
Right.
And then Bray Wyatt will be the Bray Wyatt he was here.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah, but
Let's not forget Bray Wyatt, the
but-
Fiend, was also tag team champion with...
However, though, the Bray Wyatt who was here, meaning the WWE, that Bray Wyatt wasn't getting no 870,000 views, so it must have something to do with the company! Anyway.
There you go.
I'm serious.
There you go.
I'm dead serious. Oh, my Lord.
There you go.
Oh, well, you know.
So,
Either you play for the Yankees or you wind up you don't want to play for the Long Island Ducks. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a Yankee.
so I know you're a big-time Phil Brooks fan.
Yeah, what about Phil?
What is the deal with these? So Phil Brooks made his way to the ring to
Okay.
address the AEW faithful, like he always does.
Right.
He first addressed John Moxley, which we'll discuss.
Sure. We'll
Who
save
will
that
be
for
entering
the father
inpatient
show.
alcohol treatment program,
Right.
as announced by our friend Tony.
Right.
Then he turned his attention to Eddie Kingston, who interrupted an interview Punk was in the middle of conducting
I
last
actually
week.
liked that, I must admit, but go on.
And then Punk says, "You'd love to be part of the tournament. I know you want me to be part of the tournament, but I've got business
Right.
to take care of with Eddie Kingston."
Nothing like CM Punk continuing to not do the right thing and go for the gold. I don't want Punk's return to be versus Eddie Kingston or who's the Powerhouse Hobbs or who's the other another guy I don't even remember his name. Stop.
Again,
Stop. Go for the belt.
They are making a mistake by putting him on every week. They should have made him Andre the Giant-esque.
But-
once every 4 weeks, have him show up. People, I would get my attention.
Right.
Now it's every week up to see a Punk interview.
But if you are going to put him out there every week, what are you doing? This is your plan? I've been bitching about this plan since it started.
Right.
You don't have CM Punk come back to that huge return and those really good ratings for them, and then the next week he's wrestling you. Or me.
Bro, we see
What are you
him-
doing?
we
Get
see
out there and be
him
the big
do-
star you are.
When you don't have,
No, I want to coach the up-and-comers. Okay, fine. Do that behind
when
the
you
scenes.
don't
not
have
live on the air.
storylines, when you don't have storylines, which
Yeah.
AEW doesn't,
Yeah, boy.
okay?
Good boy.
Marching him out there every week is destroying it. They're in trouble, dude. I'm sorry. They're bleeding. They've already toned down their regular show matches, right? It's just pay-per-view matches every Wednesday. Now it's like, now you're getting Raw matches.
Yeah, you
right?
kind of are. What's going on here?
Because you got to kind of like make
Yeah,
people
what's going
want
on
it.
here? And don't tell me, like, you know, I can hear them. I can hear, and don't tell me that CM Punk versus Bobby Fish is not Raw, because it is.
So with that, we're out of
Well.
time. So give the fans your final thoughts on this week in pro wrestling.
Well, it's been a wonderful week. I feel very wholesome talking to you organically about the world of pro wrestling. We're keeping it nice and nerdy, don't you think?
Yeah.
And now we can go batshit on the Father Show. That's what I think.
Sounds good. This has been Mike Monty.
This has been the Pharaoh. You've been watching This Week in Wrestling. Until next week when we hit our Sweet 16. Later.